If you have never had the pleasure of sitting through the entirety of a Trump rally, you would not know that many of them start with prayer. The whole Trump rally is often framed as a quasi-religious event. And the way the pastors who kick off these rallies preach, it isn't just dark, it is evolving. McKay Coppins, a staff writer at The Atlantic, analyzed more than a year's worth of these Trump rally prayers to try to understand how the religious right views Trump and how they're framing the upcoming election. Joining us now, McKay Coppins, staff writer at The Atlantic. McKay, thank you, as always, for being with us. You listened to more than a year's worth of these pre-rally prayers. What did you learn?
There were a couple of different themes that stood out to me in reviewing all 58 of these prayers. One of them is that the way that the prayers describe the state of America is kind of almost borderline apocalyptic, right? You heard a couple clips in the intro there, but people describe America as being on the precipice of catastrophe, as being, wallowing in addiction and sin and death. And at the root of this is a theological belief that America, much like ancient Israel in the Old Testament, has broken its covenant with God and is being punished for its sinfulness. And implicit and sometimes explicit in that idea is that to renew its good standing with God, America needs to re-elect Donald Trump, who is a righteous leader and will lead America back in a godly place. The other theme that I think is important to note is that a lot of the prayers, not all of them, but a lot of them framed the election as part of a spiritual battle. In fact, there was one pastor in South Carolina who straight up said, we are battling demonic forces led by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And, you could chalk this up to kind of fringy, provocative rhetoric. But the truth is that if you believe that this election is a front in a spiritual war, pitting supernatural angels against demons, it changes the way that you think about winning and losing. The stakes are just much higher for people who have internalized these ideas.
I want to stay on that exact point. We have some more video of a televangelist saying a prayer in that spirit before a Trump rally in February. Take a listen.
Let us pray, because we're fighting a demonic force. We're fighting the real enemy that comes from the gates of hell, led by one of his leaders called Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
So that's the sound you just referenced. It sounds different, McKay, coming from you than it does coming from the televangelist. And you talked about winning and losing. So if this is the frame, right, that this is all part of a religious battle, what happens if they do lose in November? How then do they process the losing?
Well, that was the question that I kind of had, and it was rattling around in the back of my mind the whole time I was reading these prayers and watching these videos, because it seems to me that if you have internalized the idea that you have a divine mandate to win this election, that God is on your side, that God has anointed Donald Trump as his chosen leader, and that he is supposed to lead the country, if he loses, you kind of have two choices. You can accept defeat and accept that your entire theological framework, your faith was misplaced. And that's going to be, difficult. It's going to take some really hard work. Or you can believe that something was amiss, that the election was stolen, that Satan has his hand in this outcome, and you can fight it. And my fear, obviously, is that we'll see something like a replay of January 6th in 2020, but maybe even on a larger scale. Because I will tell you, I've covered more than 100 of these Trump rallies, and these prayers have evolved over time. There were prayers in 2016, and I'm sure, there were some more kind of extreme prayers like these ones, but the theological underpinnings of the prayers have shifted, and the way that they're framing this election as something that has eternal consequences is new from my perspective.
McKay Coppins with an incredible new piece in The Atlantic. McKay, thank you so much for making the time.
Thanks, Alicia.